You find yourself walking along a winding forest path as the golden afternoon light filters through the canopy above. The air carries the gentle scent of moss and wildflowers, whilst the soft rustle of leaves creates a peaceful symphony around you. Your footsteps make a sound on the carpet of fallen leaves, each step taking you deeper into this enchanted woodland. The path curves gently to the right, and there, standing majestically in a small clearing, is the most magnificent oak tree you have ever seen. Its trunk is so wide that it would take several people holding hands to encircle it, and its branches stretch high into the sky, creating a natural cathedral of green. The bark is deeply grooved with age, telling stories of centuries past, and you feel drawn to approach this ancient guardian of the forest. As you draw closer, you notice something extraordinary. There, at the base of the mighty trunk, is a natural hollow, as if the tree itself has opened its heart to welcome visitors. The opening is perfectly smooth, worn by countless years of wind and rain into a gentle archway. Soft moss cushions the edges of the hollow, and tiny flowers bloom in delicate clusters around its perimeter, as if nature itself has decorated this sacred space. You step closer and peer into the hollow. The interior is surprisingly spacious, lined with the same smooth bark that forms the outer trunk. But what catches your eye immediately is the object resting on a natural shelf within the hollow. A book. Not just any book, but one that seems to shimmer with its own inner light, as if starlight has been woven into its very pages. The book is bound in rich mahogany leather that has aged to a beautiful patina. Silver clasps hold it closed, and intricate patterns are embossed across its cover, depicting winding railways, gentle rivers, and distant cities. Above these images, written in elegant script that seems to glow softly, are the words, "The Atlas of Gentle Journeys." You reach out and lift the book from its resting place. It feels warm in your hands, as if it has been sitting in sunshine, though the hollow is shaded by the great branches above. The weight of it is satisfying, substantial, yet not heavy, and you can feel a gentle vibration running through it, like the purr of a contented cat. Finding a comfortable spot at the base of the oak, you settle against its broad trunk. The bark curves naturally to support your back, and soft moss provides a cushion beneath you. The canopy above filters the light into gentle dancing patterns, and you can hear the distant sound of a brook babbling somewhere in the forest depths. You open the book. The first page reveals a map drawn in exquisite detail, showing a city built entirely on platforms amongst the clouds. Delicate spires reach towards the heavens, connected by graceful bridges that seem to float in midair. The city is called Celestial Haven, according to the elegant script below the illustration. Tiny details catch your eye. Gardens hanging in impossible places, waterfalls cascading from cloud to cloud, and what appears to be a railway station perched on the edge of the highest platform. As you trace the map with your finger, the page begins to warm beneath your touch. The illustration seems to shimmer and move, and suddenly you feel a gentle tingling sensation running up your arm. The forest around you starts to fade, becoming translucent like watercolors running in rain, and you find yourself standing on a railway platform, unlike any you have ever seen. The platform is made of polished white stone that seems to glow with its own inner light. It stretches before you in a graceful curve, with ornate benches placed at regular intervals. Above you, instead of a roof, there is open sky filled with the most beautiful aurora you have ever witnessed. Streams of green, blue, and silver light dance across the heavens, casting ever-changing colors across the platform. You hear a gentle sound approaching, a soft rhythmic chiming, like silver bells mixed with the whisper of wind through grass. In the distance, you can see a light approaching along the tracks. The train that emerges from the distance and comes to a stop before you with barely a whisper. The doors open with a soft melodic chime, and you step aboard. The interior is even more wondrous than the exterior. The seats are cushioned with what feels like captured clouds, impossibly soft and supportive. The windows are large and clear, offering panoramic views of the magical landscape you are about to traverse. As you settle into your seat, the train begins to move with the gentlest of motions. There is no jolt or jerk, simply a smooth, gliding sensation as you begin your journey through the aurora-filled sky. The rhythmic sound of the train's movement is deeply soothing, a soft swooshing sound that seems to match the rhythm of your own breathing, punctuated by gentle chimes that ring out like distant church bells on a Sunday morning. Through the windows, you watch as the platform fades behind you, and the train carries you higher into the sky. Below, you can see clouds drifting like islands in an ocean of soft blue light. The aurora streams around and above you, painting the sky in ever-changing patterns of green and silver and gold. The train follows the aurora streams, riding them like a boat rides ocean currents, swaying gently from side to side in a motion that is deeply relaxing. As you travel higher, you begin to see your destination. Celestial havens spread out before you like a dream made manifest. The city is built on platforms of crystallized cloud, each level connected to the others by bridges that seem to be woven from solidified rainbow light. Gardens hang in impossible places, their flowers glowing with their own soft light, and waterfalls cascade from level to level, their water sparkling like liquid diamonds. The train begins to slow as you approach the city's railway station, and you can hear the gentle sound of its wheels on the crystal tracks becoming more pronounced. The rhythmic swooshing sound changes to a soft clicking, like the sound of settling logs in a warm fireplace. The train comes to rest at a platform that seems to be carved from a single enormous cloud, its surface solid beneath your feet, but soft and yielding like the finest carpet. You step out onto the platform and breathe in the air of Celestial Haven. It tastes of clear mountain springs and fresh snow, with a hint of the sweetness that comes just before dawn. The city around you hums with gentle activity. The soft sound of wind chimes from the hanging gardens, the musical tinkle of the cascading waterfalls, and the distant sound of voices raised in harmony, though you cannot make out the words. You wander through the city's levels, connected by those rainbow bridges that feel solid beneath your feet, despite their ethereal appearance. Each step you take produces a soft musical note, so that walking becomes a gentle melody. The bridges sway slightly in the celestial breezes, but the motion is soothing rather than alarming, like being rocked in a giant's cradle. The gardens you pass are filled with flowers that seem to be made of light itself. Some glow with the soft blue of twilight, others with the warm gold of sunrise, and still others with the gentle green of spring leaves. As you walk among them, you can hear them singing not with voices, but with a sound like the whisper of silk scarves in a gentle breeze. The music they make is wordless, but deeply peaceful, a lullaby that seems to speak directly to your soul. Eventually, you find yourself at the edge of the city, on a platform that overlooks the vast expanse of sky below. Here, comfortable benches are placed at the perfect spots for contemplation, and you settle onto one that seems to have been waiting just for you. The cushions conform to your body perfectly, supporting you as you gaze out over the infinite vista of clouds and aurora light. The sounds of the city fade to a gentle murmur behind you, and you are left with the peaceful silence of the sky. Occasionally, a gentle breeze stirs the air around you, bringing with it the soft chiming of distant wind chimes and the faint echo of the flower song from the gardens. Time seems to flow differently here, each moment stretching and expanding like honey poured from a jar. After what might be minutes or hours, you feel a gentle pull, as if invisible threads are drawing you back towards the railway station. You rise from your bench and make your way back through the singing gardens, across the rainbow bridges, past the musical waterfalls. The train is waiting for you, its pearlescent carriages glowing softly in the aurora light. You board once again, and the train begins its gentle journey back through the sky. But this time, instead of traveling through the aurora streams, you find yourself descending through layers of soft cloud, the rhythmic whooshing of the train's movement, lulling you into a peaceful, dreamy state. The sounds around you grow softer and more distant, and you feel yourself being drawn back to that quiet forest clearing. The train fades around you like morning mist, and you find yourself once again sitting against the great oak tree, the magical book open in your lap. The map of Celestial Haven has returned to being a simple illustration on the page, though it seems to hold a subtle glow that wasn't there before, as if it remembers your visit. You turn the page. The next map shows a completely different scene, a harbor city built on stilts over a vast lake. The buildings are painted in soft blues and greens, with red tiled roofs and flower boxes at every window. Gondolas and small boats drift between the buildings, and you can see what appears to be a ferry dock at the edge of the map. The city is called Aquamarine Shores, and just looking at the illustration, you can almost hear the gentle lapping of water against wooden pilings. Once again, as you trace the map with your finger, the world around you begins to shimmer and change. The forest fades, and you find yourself standing on a wooden dock that extends out over the clearest water you have ever seen. The dock is weathered to a soft silver gray, and you can feel the gentle movement of the water beneath it, a slow, rhythmic swaying that matches the beat of your heart. The air here carries the scent of water and wood, with hints of sea salt and the fresh smell that comes after rain. You can hear the gentle sound of water lapping against the dock's supports, a soft, rhythmic splashing that is deeply soothing. Somewhere in the distance, you can hear the melodic sound of wind chimes and the occasional call of seabirds, but their cries are musical rather than harsh, like flutes played by the wind. At the end of the dock, a boat waits for you. It is unlike any vessel you have seen before, carved from what appears to be a single piece of pale blue crystal, yet warm to the touch and perfectly comfortable. The boat seems to glow from within, casting gentle ripples of light across the water's surface. Soft cushions line the interior, and a small canopy provides shade while still allowing you to see the sky above. As you step aboard, the boat begins to move of its own accord, gliding across the water with barely a whisper. There is no engine, no sails, just the gentle magic that seems to pervade this place. The boat moves in time with the rhythm of the waves, rising and falling in a motion that is deeply relaxing, like being rocked in a cradle. The water beneath you is so clear that you can see straight to the bottom, where gardens of water plants sway in the gentle current. Fish swim among the plants, their scales catching the light and throwing rainbow patterns up through the water. The fish seem to dance as they swim, their movements creating a visual symphony that matches the gentle sounds of your journey. As you travel across the lake, you begin to see aquamarine shores rising from the water ahead of you. The city is even more beautiful than the map suggested, with buildings that seem to float on the water's surface, connected by a network of canals and bridges. The stilts that support the buildings are grown rather than built, twisted like enormous tree roots, but smooth and elegant. Each building is painted in a different shade of blue or green, creating a harmonious palette that reflects perfectly in the still water. Your boat carries you into the city's main canal, and you are surrounded by the gentle sounds of water against wood, the soft creaking of the floating buildings as they sway almost imperceptibly in the breeze, and the distant sound of music drifting from open windows. The music is wordless and instrumental, played on instruments that sound like combinations of flutes and harps, creating melodies that seem to flow like water themselves. Bridges arch over the canals at regular intervals, and you can see people crossing them, though their faces are unclear and dreamlike. They move with a peaceful grace, and their footsteps on the bridges create soft musical notes that add to the symphony of the city. Flowers cascade from window boxes and balconies, their petals occasionally drifting down to land on the water's surface, like natural confetti. Your boat carries you deeper into the city, past markets where the vendors' calls sound like songs, past squares where fountains play in perfect harmony with the ambient music of the place. The water beneath you reflects everything like a perfect mirror, creating a world above and a world below that seem to dance together in perfect symmetry. Eventually, your boat comes to rest at a small dock beside a garden that floats on the water's surface. The garden is filled with plants that seem to thrive in this aquatic environment, their roots trailing in the clear water, while their flowers bloom in the air above. A path of stepping stones leads through the garden to a small pavilion that sits at its heart. You step out of the boat and make your way along the stepping stones. Each one is perfectly placed, and your feet find them without effort. The stones create soft musical tones as you step on them, like drops of water falling into a still pool. The plants around you rustle gently in the breeze, their leaves creating a soft whispering sound that mingles with the distant music of the city. The pavilion is a simple structure, open on all sides, with a roof that seems to be made of crystallized water. Comfortable cushions are arranged around its perimeter, and you settle onto one that faces out over the water. From here, you can see the entire city of aquamarine shores spread out before you, its buildings reflecting in the still water like a second city suspended upside down beneath the surface. The sounds of the city reach you here as a gentle murmur, the soft lapping of water, the distant music, the whisper of wind through the water plants, and the occasional soft splash as a fish jumps somewhere in the distance. Time moves slowly here, each moment flowing into the next like ripples spreading across still water. You close your eyes and let the sounds wash over you. The rhythm of the water against the floating garden is hypnotic, and you feel yourself relaxing deeper and deeper into the peaceful atmosphere of this magical place. The cushions beneath you seem to adjust to your body perfectly, supporting you in complete comfort as you float in this moment of perfect tranquility. When you eventually open your eyes, you notice that the light has changed. What was bright daylight when you arrived has softened to the gentle glow of late afternoon, and the water around you reflects the sky like a sheet of gold. The sounds of the city have grown even softer, as if the place itself is preparing for rest. You make your way back along the stepping stones to where your crystal boat waits patiently at the dock. As you settle into the cushions, the boat begins its gentle journey back across the lake, carrying you away from aquamarine shores as peacefully as it brought you there. The return journey is even more dreamlike than the arrival. The boat seems to glide across the water without creating any wake, and the sounds of your passage are reduced to the softest whisper of water against crystal. The rhythm of the boat's movement is hypnotic, and you find your breathing naturally synchronizing with its gentle rise and fall on the barely perceptible waves. As the harbor city fades behind you, replaced once again by the open expanse of the lake, you feel yourself being drawn back towards that forest clearing where your journey began. The boat fades around you like morning mist, and the sound of lapping water gradually gives way to the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. You find yourself once again sitting against the great oak tree, the magical book still open in your lap. The map of aquamarine shores has returned to being an illustration, though like the previous map, it seems to hold a subtle glow that speaks of your recent visit. You turn the page once more. This time the map shows a city built entirely underground, but it is not dark or forbidding. Instead, it appears to be illuminated by countless crystals that line the cavern walls, casting everything in a soft, warm glow. The city is called Crystal Hollow, and the map shows winding tunnels that connect vast caverns filled with buildings that seem to grow from the living rock itself. As you trace this map with your finger, you feel the familiar tingling sensation, and the forest around you begins to fade once again. This time, you find yourself standing in what appears to be a railway station, but one unlike any you have seen before. The platform is carved from smooth stone that glows with its own inner light, and the ceiling high above you is studded with crystals that twinkle like stars. The air here is warm and dry, with a faint scent of minerals and the strange, clean smell of deep places in the earth. You can hear the gentle sound of water dripping somewhere in the distance, each drop creating a soft musical note as it hits the stone floor. The acoustics of the cavern make every sound seem to have a slight echo, but rather than being harsh or hollow, the echoes are warm and embracing, like being wrapped in a soft blanket of sound. You hear a familiar rhythmic sound approaching, the gentle clicking of wheels on tracks, but softer and more musical than any ordinary train. This railway runs through tunnels carved from the living rock, and the sound of the train's approach is muffled and warmed by the stone around it, creating a deep, comforting rhythm that you can feel in your chest as much as hear with your ears. The train that emerges from the tunnel is carved from the same glowing stone as the platform, its surfaces polished to a warm sheen. Windows line its sides, glowing with a soft golden light from within, and as it comes to a gentle stop before you, you can see that the interior is fitted with the most comfortable-looking seats you have ever seen, each one seemingly carved to fit its occupant perfectly. You board the train and settle into a seat that molds itself to your body as if it were made specifically for you. The windows offer a perfect view of the tunnels you are about to traverse, and as the train begins to move, you are treated to one of the most extraordinary journeys of your life. The train moves through the underground passages with a gentle, rhythmic motion that is deeply soothing. The sound of its wheels on the stone tracks creates a steady, hypnotic beat that seems to resonate through the very rock around you. The tunnels are lined with crystals of every color imaginable, and as the train passes, they catch and reflect its light, creating a constantly changing light show that dances on the tunnel walls. Some of the crystals sing as the train passes, their resonant notes adding to the symphony of your journey. The music they create is wordless and peaceful, like the sound of wind through a vast cathedral, or the deep, thrumming sound of the earth itself breathing. The echoes of these crystal songs follow the train through the tunnels, creating layers of harmony that build and fade in perfect rhythm with the train's movement. As you travel deeper into the earth, the tunnels open up into vast caverns that take your breath away. The train's route takes you through the middle of these enormous spaces, and you can see Crystal Hollow spread out around you like a city of dreams. Buildings grow from the cavern floors and walls like enormous crystals themselves, their surfaces glowing with soft, warm light. Gardens of stone flowers bloom in impossible places, and waterfalls cascade from unseen heights, their water sparkling with mineral deposits that make them seem like streams of liquid jewels. Your train carries you through cavern after cavern, each one more beautiful than the last. In one, you see a vast underground lake, its surface so still that it perfectly reflects the crystal formations above, creating the illusion of crystals growing both up and down to meet in the middle. In another, you pass through a forest of stone trees, their branches reaching up to support the cavern ceiling, their leaves made of thin sheets of glowing crystal that rustle with a sound like gentle rain. Eventually, the train comes to rest at a platform in the heart of the largest cavern you have yet seen. This one is so vast that you cannot see its far walls, and the ceiling is so high that it disappears into darkness above the reach of even the brightest crystals. The platform itself is surrounded by gardens of living crystal, formations that seem to grow and change even as you watch, their surfaces shifting through every color of the rainbow. You step out of the train and onto the platform, and immediately you can feel the deep peace of this place. The air seems to hum with a barely audible vibration, as if the entire cavern is one enormous musical instrument being played by the earth itself. Your footsteps on the stone platform create soft, musical echoes that seem to be picked up and amplified by the crystals around you, turned into brief melodies that fade into the overall harmony of the place. You wander away from the platform and into the crystal gardens. Here, formations of every shape and size reach towards the cavern ceiling, some no larger than your hand, others towering above you like crystal trees. Each one catches and reflects the ambient light in its own way, creating patterns of color and shadow that are constantly shifting and changing. As you move through the gardens, You discover that you can create music by touching the crystals. Each one has its own unique note, and by touching several in sequence, you can create simple melodies that echo through the cavern, adding your own voice to the eternal song of Crystal Hollow. The sound of your music seems to encourage the other crystals around you to sing as well, and soon you are surrounded by a gentle chorus of mineral voices, each one contributing to a harmony that is both complex and deeply peaceful. You find a comfortable spot to rest among the singing crystals, settling onto a natural seat carved from the smooth stone floor. Around you, the crystals continue their eternal song, their music flowing and ebbing like the tide, sometimes building to gentle crescendos before fading back to barely audible whispers. The rhythm of their song seems to match your breathing, and you find yourself sinking deeper and deeper into the peaceful trance of this magical place. Time moves differently in Crystal Hollow, each moment stretching and expanding like the echoes that bounce off the cavern walls. You might have been sitting there for minutes or hours when you gradually become aware that it is time to return to your journey. The crystals around you seem to sense your departure, and their song gradually fades to a gentle farewell as you make your way back to the waiting train. The return journey through the tunnels is even more dreamlike than the arrival. The train moves with the same gentle rhythm, but now the crystal formations seem to bid you farewell as you pass, their light growing softer and more golden, their songs fading to gentle whispers. The sound of the train's wheels on the stone tracks becomes a lullaby, and you find yourself growing drowsy as you watch the tunnel walls slide past the windows. As the train carries you back towards the surface, back towards the world of the forest clearing, you feel yourself being gently drawn back to consciousness. The stone caverns fade around you like a dream upon waking, and the sound of the crystal songs gives way once more to the gentle rustle of leaves in the forest breeze. You find yourself, once again, sitting against the great oak tree, the magical book still open in your lap. The map of Crystal Hollow has returned to being an illustration, but like the others, it retains a subtle glow that speaks of the wonders you have witnessed. The evening light in the forest has grown softer and more golden while you have been traveling. The sounds of the woodland around you seem more peaceful now, as if your journeys have somehow enhanced your ability to appreciate the gentle music of the natural world. The brook that bubbles somewhere in the distance sounds more melodic, the rustling of the leaves more rhythmic, the distant bird songs more harmonious. You close the magical book gently, running your hand over its leather cover one final time. The silver clasps click softly as they secure the pages within, and you can feel the gentle vibration of the book's magic settling into dormancy, ready to awaken again, when next you need to journey to realms of peace and wonder. You place the book carefully back in its hollow within the great oak tree, positioning it exactly as you found it, ready for the next traveler who might need its gentle magic. The hollow seems to embrace the book, the moss and tiny flowers around its edges glowing slightly in the nightlight. Settling back against the oak's broad trunk, you close your eyes and let the peaceful sounds of the forest wash over you. The memory of your journeys mingles with the reality of the woodland around you, creating a perfect harmony of imagination and nature. The rhythm of your breathing matches the gentle sway of the branches above, and you feel yourself sinking into the deep, restful peace that comes from having traveled to magical realms and returned safely home. The great oak stands sentinel over your rest, its ancient presence a guarantee of safety and peace. The magical book rests securely in its hollow, ready to transport future dreamers to realms of wonder and tranquility. And you rest in perfect contentment, surrounded by the gentle sounds of the forest, your mind filled with memories of crystal songs, aurora trains, and boats that sail on lakes of liquid starlight. The forest around you settles into the peaceful rhythm of the night, and all is well in this magical place where dreams and reality meet beneath the sheltering branches of the traveler's oak. Sweet dreams. Good night.